Happy New Year.
2020 has arrived.
Are you ready?
No, absolutely not.
Not either.
I'd like to ease into this. I'm still kind of enjoying some of the Christmas decorations still being up. But Happy New Year, 2020 has arrived, and welcome to the new year.
Yeah, we're out for a nice walk.
Yeah.
Here in Washington State, no rain, which is woohoo.
Yeah, no rain. We're happy about that.
It's like quick, walk while
quick.
we can.
Let's go get the walk in.
Although it's still chilly, huh?
Relatively speaking, you know, anything over 40 degrees is warm in some parts of the country.
I know.
So anyhow, yeah, we wanted to kind of talk to everybody today about January and kind of a statistic that you came across, Brenda, which was on one hand enlightening and on the other hand, oh, that's sad. So what was that you heard?
Well, what I saw was, and this is from Focus on the Family, that most divorces are filed in the month of January.
Why is that?
Well, I think if things aren't going well, it's like couples think, well, we can suck it up over the holidays. Let's just get through the holidays, brush everything under the carpet, and then we'll deal with it when we get on the other side. We don't want to disrupt the family or the kids, right?
Okay, I mean, that's noble and such, but now here we are in a new year, and now what do we do?
Well, and I think what a lot of people think is we've got two options. We can stay miserable, right?
Which is not a very good option.
Or we can divorce.
Which really, most people, especially in the chair that I sit in as a counselor, they really don't want to do that. And they and for the most part, sometimes they still love each other, but they're miserable. So I guess it must mean we need to divorce.
Right.
Which is really a sad choice. But there's a third choice.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why we've started doing these marriage intensives. We call them MRIs, marriage restoration intensives. So I feel like it's kind of like, you know, does your marriage need an MRI? And what does an MRI do? It's kind of gets underneath and
it has radiation that looks through and actually says, oh, there's the problem right there. There's something stuck in your throat and we couldn't see it until now. Kind of like in marriage too. You got something stuck in your throat and it needs to be dealt with, but if you can't see it and deal with what's underneath the cover, then the problem just gets worse.
Right. And I think that's what's so encouraging about the intensives we do, and we work with couples. I mean, it seems like the average couple that have been married, you know, 17 to 25 years is what we call the red zone. It's usually when the wheels start to fall off, and most divorces happen because you're hitting your 40s, right?
Yeah, midlife is really a true thing, and it usually happens in your late 30s and through your 40s.
And your kids are probably becoming teenagers, so they're sucking your brains out.
Yeah, they're pulling your brains apart. Your parents are getting older, if your parents are still living. And in a lot of ways in those middle years, human development is that there's a lot of things that you have either neglected, chosen not to deal with, now begins to come to the surface, and you begin to question, is this all there is to life? My expectation was I didn't expect to be here. I don't like this, and therefore something must be wrong with the environment, so the problem must be you, not me, which is really a complete myth. I mean, there might be something wrong with you.
It could be.
There might be something wrong with you, but it could be a combination that there are things going on in both people's lives.
Yeah, and by ending a relationship doesn't mean those things are going to go away. So a lot of times what you are struggling with in this relationship now, you're going to take into your next relationship. So why not flush it out now?
Yeah.
Because, and this is another thing that I love to talk to people that are contemplating divorce, because since we've been there, it's like, let's sit down, let me tell you what your life is going to be like now. You think it's hard now?
It doesn't get any easier.
Yeah, it's going to be worth it to work through your stuff.
It's worth fighting for. So I guess that's that third option, is to do the MRI, to really get into the marriage intensive, marriage restoration intensive is really that aspect of, okay, it's worth the investment. And the intensives that we've done, on a couple of occasions, people have had divorce papers in their hands, and then they come. This is not an easy thing to do for the couple, and for us to sit in those places of pain. I mean, even on a day-to-day basis, it's an honor. It's a privilege to sit in the pile of poo, or you can
Call it whatever
you can call it whatever you want, but I'll call it a pile of poo. To kind of get into those places, because it's usually something emotional, and a lot of times there's been a wound that has been left unattended for years, and typically it usually happened within the first or second year of marriage, and people just kind of go, oh, we'll come back to that, and they never do, and then now here we are years later, and they've got to deal with it, and so I think that's one of the things, even sitting with couples and meeting people even in the public square. One particular business owner I was talking to just the other day, her parents divorced, and now here she is in her 20s, and her mother never remarried, but her father is now on marriage number 4. And so in that case, you're thinking, you can't go to, I guess my comment to the gentleman is, wow, that's hard. There's something there, but you can't go find the answer of your problem in someone else.
Yeah.
You have to deal with your own stuff.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it is that if the other person before the marriage peels apart is willing to say, hey, let's go figure this out. Let's go do the restorative intensive to figure out what is my issue that's contributing to our issue, so that we can protect the us, and therefore potentially salvage and then change the legacy of our family. Because if that's been going on for years and generations, then you get a chance to change it.
And why do you think, I think one reason why an MRI maybe not work is if both people aren't committed to try it, right? What do you tell somebody in that situation?
Well, commitment is one thing, and just putting ISAV on it and saying, oh, I'll just do this because I'll check the box, then it's not for you. It's totally not for you, because if you plan on sitting down for 2.5, 3 days and really digging into the meat and potatoes of the problem, you aren't going to make it through the first hour. So in a lot of ways, you're there to dig in and in a safe way, understand what escalates one another, and then learn new skills. Because we've been doing the same dance over and over again, we're going to learn some new things. And so, primarily when we're working with someone to find out, hey, are you willing to do this? There's 3 specific things we want to find out from you. Are you having an affair? And honestly, if you are, you got to stop, because that's going to be contradictory to the ability to do the work. So you got to not be a poser. You got to be honest with yourself, because it's filling a void of some sort, and who knows what that is. So we got to find out what that is. Number 2, are you having a problem with a substance abuse or even pornography? If that's the case, you're fooling yourself yet again, and therefore if you're not willing to let that go, then don't bother starting. And then the first one, basically,
starting what?
Well, starting the process of working through the issue, because you have to be
in the marriage,
because you're dealing with your own stuff, but it's impacting one another. And this isn't just a guy thing.
No,
I don't want the ladies off the hook here, because there are women who struggle with this stuff as well. And then finally, one of the ones that's probably the most difficult and dangerous to deal with is as if there's some form of domestic violence going on, because we don't want anybody in harm's way. And by stepping into an intensive, you're not only just stirring up problems, you're sticking a stick right in the middle of the hornet's nest. And the last thing we would want to do is to see someone endangered physically. And so you're going, gosh, Gil, this is really intense. Yeah, it is. And your marriage is worth the intensity of putting the effort in. Because,
so you're saying those 3 things.
Those are the clarifiers.
You would not go on to do an intensive until those things were taken care of.
Clarified. Clarified and put on the hold, because in a way, your marriage and your life is worth it. I mean, even if the outcome of it is that you chose to both go separate ways, okay, that's the 4th option. You do actually, make the effort, and still it can't be repaired.
But you still, especially if you have kids, are always going to be connected.
Right.
So you want to at least get to a place where you can be civil with each other and co-parent well.
You have to co-parent well, because you're going to be joined because of those kids through the rest of your life. So, boy, this is really negative stuff.
I know. I was going to say this
is really negative stuff.
The idea is to be positive, and those of you that are in a good place in your marriage, keep it up. Keep investing. Keep doing stuff. Go on date night, And don't make it like a check off the box date night, but
No.
have good conversations
Right.
about what's really going on. I mean, a conversation that we have with each other is, how's your heart? What's
Yeah.
going on? How, and what are your dreams? That's one thing that we've lost track of, is like, we need to start dreaming again. So whatever works, making a list or a word picture, or what do you call those dream boards?
Dream boards, yeah.
They, to me, sound hokey, but boy, they really bring connectedness
Well,
to
and I
each
think
other.
at the beginning of the year, I mean, our anniversary is coming up here shortly, and so we always kind of try to reflect as well as look forward to, you know, the 5-year plan. What do we want to have happen this year? You know,
Yes.
in our lives also, because faith is a really important component of our lives. What are we praying about? What are we
Yeah.
trusting God for? And that is another dimension of your relationship that if it's neglected, you're actually missing out. I'm just being tell you straightforward. You're missing out on a really precious, intimate thing to share and walk your faith out together, because in that case, it's another sinew between your hearts.
Yeah.
And I love that when we do that. But I think even kind of toward the end of the holiday season, you know, we were sitting there having a conversation. I don't remember exactly what it was. You headed off to get ready for bed, and I was still sitting there kind of looking at the Christmas tree, and you came back and said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Well, yes, I am, and no, I'm not. I feel lonely. I reflect on memories."
Yeah.
And that brought up a kind of an empty space in me. And by doing that, being vulnerable, we've worked at it long enough to where I was vulnerable. You stepped in, and literally I just said, I need to know that I'm loved. And I knew that I was, but I was feeling something, and you stepped in a way that was very gentle and positive, and I sat there for a little while after you said what you said, and just was really thankful that I could be open and transparent.
Yeah.
That is a whole nother topic we need to get into more, not now, but it's that place that when we can be, then the need of intensives diminish.
Yeah.
And if indeed there is the need of the intensive, that's exactly where we're going, is the place that you haven't been is where you need to go, and that is to be vulnerable, open,
Safe.
and safe, obviously.
Huge.
Yeah, safe. So to build that safety. So, you know,
But what a gift you're giving to your kids to strengthen your marriage. I mean, we say this all the time. The best gift you can give your kids is a strong marriage, right? And you might as well be happy. I mean, it's so sad when we meet people that have been married 17, 18, 19 years and they're not happy and they're not friends in their marriage. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of tweaking, some new tools, some new thought patterns that is a game changer. Right?
right.
What?
Let's be friends.
We got to sign off.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Thanks for
I
listening.
hear a siren someplace, so we need to run because I think
Yeah.
did you leave the lights on or something, or you know, I
We
don't know.
just
We're
robbed
parked
a
in
bank or something, I
We're
don't
parked
know.
in a wrong. Yeah, we robbed a bank. Yeah.
But check out more of our videos on GillandBrenda.com, where this is our YouTube channel. Also subscribe wherever you can. And yeah, we'd love to hear any of your comments. What do you think about having an intensive in your relationship? Do you know somebody? They can be remarried, first-time marriage.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Marriage is marriage, right? So,
It is.
and that's why we always say,
If you ain't got the marriage.
you ain't got nothing.
All right.
And
Signing off.
always forward. Happy
Always
New
forward.
Year.
Just go slow.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Bless you all.